Well, if you have not heard the news in the last couple of days, I've been one of the only ones in the EDC community covering this story, which is, Benchmade is suing Montana Knife Company. Well, they were suing them and they dropped the case. Listen, if you want to know more about that information, there'll be some videos that you can go watch on my channel. But here's the bigger point. If up until this point, you were a shield for any of these companies, you are getting played. You're getting played. Because the thing is, corporations, whether they're LLCs, incorporated, sole proprietorships, whatever the structure is, they are out just like we individuals to make money. I'm out to make money for my family and, but normally the way I make money for my family is ethical because most of the time, if not, there's a higher likelihood that I can get my ass bounced in jail versus a corporation. So first off, we're rocking some new coffee today. This should be pretty interesting. Some of this, what is this stuff called? Sightseer coffee, the dad bod. What? The dad bod, they say, huh? We'll see how this tastes. I had some of this as a pour over the other day on my podcast, and now we get an opportunity to have it as, smells freaking fantastic, as an espresso. Nice washed beans out of Austin, Texas. I think they're a Nicaraguan Ethiopian mixed beans is how they like to do it all together. Dad bod is a catchy name. Make some different stuff happen. But if up until this point you were white knighting for a company, I am not sure why. And I'm not just talking about everyday carry. I'm talking about anything where you could look like a straight idiot because you find yourself defending a corporation blindly. And the thing is corporations are made up of human beings, and I like people, but sometimes people are very, very shitty. And because they are the thing that's behind a corporation themselves, they could be the ones that completely jack up the way that you feel about a company, the things that you end up doing for a company. For instance, the original founder of Benchmade passed away. It was taken over by his son. I also think that his mother is still on the board as well. But the point being is, in my opinion, ever since the changeover into new leadership at Benchmade, there has been a lot of questionable decisions. Benchmade's always been a very litigious company. They just seem to get a little bit more litigious under the new leadership since the original founder died. And the thing is like, apparently, I'm not 100% sure, but the new owner doesn't have a lot of experience actually making knives. He himself is not a master bladesmith. And so that kind of so he's more of I think he might be more about making money. But let's just say, for instance, everything I just said is true. Let's just say that he's not very good at, he's never made a knife before. He's not a master bladesmith, stuff like that, right? Well, the point being is, let's just say, for instance, you have been following Benchmade since the early 90s or mid 90s because you thought they made great products, because you thought they were a great company. And then now here you go, they're making a lot of decisions that you're not a big fan of. This would be my example of why it doesn't make a ton of sense to just absently follow these companies because they don't have your best interest in mind. That's just an example with Benchmade. And I'm using Benchmade as the example because they sue a lot of folks. A lot of people accuse them of bullying tactics. I don't know if that's true. If I ever get an opportunity to interview them, that's a question that I would ask them. But what about other companies? What about other companies that work in different spaces that you just absentmindedly white knight for, you follow or you defend no matter what? Like, I don't know how many times I have heard the debate that Apple is significantly better than Android. When I hear those debates, I just think we are doing exactly what these companies want us to do. We are white knighting for them, and it doesn't make any particular sense because they would not white knight for us. They make all sorts of decisions that go against the best interests of us all the time. And we just continue to defend them to the end no matter what. I don't think that makes a ton of sense. But you know, what do I know? For instance, I have a Google Pixel 7 as my main phone, but also have an iPhone 13 as my work phone. I particularly enjoy the Google Pixel 7 a lot more than the iPhone. But sometimes I like to razz my wife and just explain to her that my phone is superior and et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes we know that we're playing around with one another. But if I were to do that same razzing with a sister-in-law or somebody else in my family, they would maybe get extremely upset that I'm having this debate. And I'm just like, these companies, not only did you not get your iPhone for free, they don't care if you defend them or not. They just want you to stay within the ecosystem. They want you to continue to give your money to them. They want you to continue to be a peasant underneath their care. Me particularly, I don't know if I'm 100% interested in being a peasant under any of these companies' care, because they sure do not care about me. I think that if you are super loyal to a brand, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a difference between being loyal to a brand and just absent-mindedly white knighting for a brand. I think that they both have two different things. For instance, I'm pretty loyal when it comes to sticking to a specific brand in some areas of my life that may not make a lot of sense to you. For instance, all three of my kids that are the youngest all were on Enfamil baby formula. This is a very, very simple example, but I know that I could have got the Sam's Club brand because I think it also is made by Enfamil. I know I could have tried out Similac. There's a lot of things I could have done. My doctor said that my kids were fine, except for the middle one. My kids were fine to basically drink any of these formulas. But for me, I wanted to stick with Enfamil. I'm just loyal to Enfamil. I feel like they've treated me well, but I'm not white knighting for Enfamil, okay? If at any point I feel like Enfamil is not delivering on what I need them to deliver for my kiddos, then that's something that I'm going to definitely no longer use them for. It'd be something I would stop using them for immediately. But that's just me knowing the difference between loyalty and white knighting or being a shield for a company. Another example is I'm a big fan of VAR and their line of field watches, their dive watch, all that good stuff. I'm also a big fan of Ben Roos in their watches as well. Today I'm wearing a VAR dive watch. This is the D5 Navy Meridian. But the point being is I like the quality of VAR. I like the fact that a lot of their watches are assembled in America. I like the fact that they seem to treat their employees well and they have pretty good pricing. But if VAR all of a sudden started doing some really stupid stuff, not like my freaking delicious looking cup of coffee here, little bit of a espresso. Let's just see how this new one tastes, man. Let's just, before we, oh yeah, that gets the job done. If VAR started to do anything crazy in regards to their watches, they sent all their manufacturing to China, maybe I would still tolerate it, maybe I would not. If they just started firing employees or they became publicly traded and they started thinking about, you know, they just 100% just threw away quality or whatever, then I have no issues with abandoning them. As much as they've supported the channel before, quality and integrity knows no geographical location. That's my point when it comes to Benchmade. It doesn't matter that you are making your stuff in America 100%. It doesn't matter that your employees are in America, that you're getting stuff here, that you're selling here mostly in the States. If you are shilling for a company like some YouTubers do, which I feel like I've done in the past and I've tried to get away from that, or if you're absent-mindedly, blindly loyal to a company, that's an issue. So shilling, blind loyalty, or white knighting, they're all an issue within everyday carry. Blind loyalty is the one that makes like the least amount of sense to me, because I am willing to open my mind up to possibly trying a number of brands out and not just being blindly loyal to somebody for no particular reason. I think that's a big ass trap in everyday carry. And I think it's even a bigger trap than following trends or anything like that. Let's say, for instance, a new trend begins within everyday carry and all of a sudden people need to wear flops. Flops are the things, man. I need some new flops in my everyday carry. And if you found out that Benchmade was making flops and you just ran out and bought them because you white knight and you blindly loyal to Benchmade, you're a dummy. Extreme example, but the point being is, within everyday carry, make decisions that are best for you in your pocket. That's number one. Number two, quality and integrity have no geographical location. I root for the home team. I do enjoy made in America, companies that employ Americans. But if you have an issue with quality or integrity and you're an American-made company, I'm not gonna patronize you. An example would be, I'm a big fan of Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight gets almost all their crap from China and Taiwan. You would say, X, you should be supporting a store like Elliott's Hardware or like Ace Hardware, where they have a lot of American-made stuff in those stores, a lot of Chinese-made stuff, but a lot of American-made stuff in those stores. But I would argue to say that Harbor Freight employs way more employees than both of those stores. They have over 1,000 locations, and they are pretty good when it comes to their warranty and integrity. Those things matter to me. But maybe that shit doesn't matter to you. And everything that I just said, you didn't hear because you've already clicked away. I don't know. What I do know is you should hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join me for some more EDC cups whenever I decide to do them. Basically, whenever I fire up the camera. Hopefully this whole situation is able to resolve itself when it comes to the Montana Knife Company and Benchmade. I am hoping to interview Montana Knife Company's lawyer, Tim Palatori. He's former President Donald Trump's, he used to be his lawyer. So he has a busy schedule because, you know, he has a lot going on. Also, maybe even interviewing the co-owner of Montana Knife Company. Benchmade, you're more than welcome. The invite is there. I would love to know your side of the story, like how all this stuff went down. So, speaking of side of the story, I got shit to do. That's my side of the story. Y'all have a good day. I'll catch you later.